Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh, and this is your stimulus check update for the next stimulus package for Wednesday, November 18th. I hope everyone is off to a good and safe start to their Wednesday so far. In this video, I'll be discussing updates in regards to the next relief package and the second stimulus check. I'll also be discussing unemployment, Joe Biden, Mitch McConnell, and Chuck Schumer's recent thoughts on the next relief package, and then I'll be wrapping up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. But first, if you wouldn't mind real quickly, liking this video, give me a big thumbs up. It really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of pushing this video out to other viewers like you, and hopefully helping other people like you as well. Okay, so in addition to Joe Biden criticizing President Trump for refusing to concede his election loss, calling it embarrassing for the country and irresponsible, he also urged Congress to pass an economic relief package immediately. Even though media channels have declared Biden the winner, Congress won't actually count the electoral votes casted by electors of each state until January 6th. Nevertheless, Biden is calling Trump irresponsible for not beginning to hand over the power and warns that the virus pandemic will only worsen in the coming months. Biden said that because of this delay in cooperation, plans for a coordinated rollout of a vaccine are being set back. He went on to, surprisingly, blame both Democrats and Republicans in Congress for the inaction over the past few months. Surprising, because we really haven't seen too many lawmakers blaming their own side as well. For the most part, we're seeing Democrats either point at Republicans or Republicans pointing at Democrats to blame for failing to passing of another relief package. Biden said that the refusal of Democrats, Republicans to cooperate with one another is not due to some mysterious force behind our control. It's a conscious decision. It's a choice that we can make. If we can decide not to cooperate, we could decide to cooperate. He followed that statement up by calling on Congress to pass the large package approved by the House Democrats earlier this year, the HEROES Act, which amounted to $3.4 trillion. Of course, after the House passed that bill, they passed the HEROES Act 2.0, which was a stimulus package totaling $2.2 trillion. This bill was similar to the one offered to Stephen Mnuchin after Nancy Pelosi declined his $1.9 trillion offer. Things are going to get much tougher before they get easier, Biden remarked, and he suggested that additional relief must be approved at some point during the lame duck session. Biden said, now, not tomorrow, now. So whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent, I think we can all agree with at least some of what Biden said. Most people, even our lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, agree that more relief does need to be passed now. The only problem is, both sides know that they're so far apart as far as the price tag goes. So they think, why even bother? Well, I'll tell you why they should bother. At the end of this year, the unemployment benefits from the PUA and PUC programs will expire. At the end of this year, the eviction moratorium will also end. Student loan forbearance will end. State and local funding stops flowing. The refundable tax credit for required paid sick leave runs out, and much more. Not to mention, the $600 per week unemployment benefits from the CARES Act expired around 16 weeks ago. Since then, Trump was able to issue an executive order to extend those benefits through the Lost Wages Assistance Program, but for most states, that only lasted for an additional 4 to 6 weeks. So it's very apparent that Congress needs to act swiftly in order to get something done. As I've said in previous videos, and what I'll continue to say, is if you have the time, please email and call your state lawmakers, letting them know just how important another relief package is to you and your family. In the description box below, as usual, I'll leave the contact information for how you can message both Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell. And even though a few messages to them may not make a big difference, in numbers, we can make a change. To make matters worse, at this point, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said he and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi have not heard a single word from Mitch McConnell in around 2 weeks. Even though the Senate Majority Leader said he'd take the lead for passing another relief package as the top priority for the Senate, we haven't really seen much progress. Chuck Schumer said, quote, "If Leader McConnell and her Republican colleagues want to sit down and negotiate a bipartisan solution with a bipartisan process, Democrats are ready and willing and able to do so." So far, McConnell has blocked 2 bills the House Majority Democrats have passed, and the Democrats in the Senate have returned the favor by blocking 2 of their bills in the Senate as well. So the complete inability to reach compromise has been the biggest holdup in passing more relief over the past few months. Now, the good news that we can still take away from all this is that both sides clearly want to reach some type of deal. We're hearing things on both sides, Republican and Democrat, that a deal needs to get done. It would be one thing if Mitch McConnell or other Republicans didn't want to pass anything at all, but they do. It just comes down to reaching a compromise. And with numerous states and cities closing back down with the rise in virus case numbers, many people, especially in the service industries, are going to be relying on things such as a second round of stimulus payments and enhanced unemployment benefits. If we go back to shutting everything down once again, forcing people to lose their only source of income in some cases, then Congress will need to intervene. Not to act after several months at this point is simply irresponsible. You can't tell people they can't go to work, force them to lose their only source of income, and then not compensate them in any shape or form. With that said, let's hope that we don't have to wait too much longer for Congress to get moving. In unemployment news, after Michigan Governor Whitmer shut down her state once again for 3 weeks, which is expected to close indoor service at bars and restaurants, among other places, said that stimulus is so important because her resources are strapped. Because of the additional restrictions being placed in Michigan and other states and cities, many restaurants and other service industries may be laying off even more employees. Even though states still have their own unemployment benefits, obviously it doesn't compare to the $600 weekly federal unemployment benefits from earlier this year. In Michigan, for example, the maximum a worker can receive is $362 per week, which compared to $962 per week earlier this year isn't nearly as much. Now, one could make an argument that $600 per week is too much, but even if that was reduced to say $300 per week, it could still be a great help. So let's hope that Congress can finally reach some type of bipartisan compromise, whether it's a large bill or a skinny bill, to get these benefits extended very soon. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm going to move right along to answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. And if you do have any other comments or questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to answer as many of the comments and questions as I possibly can, but for those comments and questions I'm not able to respond to, I do try to pick some of the more popular ones to answer in the next video in video form. Okay, so without further ado, let me go ahead and jump into the first comment of today's video, which is from Shirley. Shirley says, "Hey Josh, what happens if someone died this year? My husband passed away October 20th. Is he eligible for a stimulus check?" Okay, thank you so much for your question, Shirley. And first off, my condolences for your loss. My deepest sympathies definitely go out to you and your family. And secondly, yes, he still should have received a stimulus check. Since you were married, if you filed jointly, you should have received a combined $2,400 payment. Now, if you only received a $1,200 payment for yourself, then what you could try doing is checking the payment portal using his information. However, as I mentioned, if you filed your tax returns with him jointly, then you should have received both payments at once. If you need any help receiving this money, please do not hesitate to reach out to my personal email, which I leave in the description box below. Okay, moving right along to the next question of today's video, which is from Rebecca. Rebecca says, "When will we get more money?" Okay, thank you so much for your question, Rebecca. And the next stimulus check and unemployment benefits should be passed as soon as the two sides are able to compromise on the next relief package. The good thing is, both sides, Democrats and Republicans, are fully on board for a second stimulus check and an extension of the unemployment benefits. However, both sides still have disagreements over how much spending should be in the next bill. So let's hope the two sides can reach a compromise very soon. Okay, moving right along to the next question of today's video, which is from LaDonna. LaDonna says, "Are we supposed to get a third package?" Alright, thank you so much for your question, and more than likely, this next package, if passed, will probably end up being the last big one. And while it is certainly possible there may be another smaller package to help aid some areas, it's unlikely we'll see another $1 trillion package, especially now that they're closer to finding a vaccine. With that said, let's just hope that they're finally able to reach some type of compromise on this bill so we can even see a second relief package passed. Alright, moving right along to the last question of today's video, which is from Bezel. Bezel says, "Hi Josh, I'm just wondering if I filed my taxes for 2019 including my dependent son, but I still did not get a dependent stimulus check of $500, do I still use the non-fathers tool? When I tried to use it under my name with my son as a dependent, it told me I already filed. Should I use the non-fathers tool just for my son? Meaning, should I just file under his name directly? Not sure how to claim him since I already filed him under my tax returns back in April and still did not receive the check. Any advice appreciated. Thanks." Okay, thank you so much for your question, and if you did file a tax return including your son as a dependent, then you should receive the $500 automatically without using the non-fathers tool. Now, one reason I can think of on why you may not have received the money is if your son is not under the age of 17. If your son is not under the age of 17, then unfortunately you would not be eligible for the $500. Not only that, but he would also not be eligible to receive any money either. If your son is under the age of 17 though, as mentioned, you won't have to take any action, and the IRS will send you an additional payment of $500. Alright, so on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is completely free to do so, and it's a great support to me. Also, if you'd like to receive 2 free stocks from Webull, with both stocks valued all the way up to $1,600, please feel free to claim those 2 free stocks by clicking on the link in the description box below. And until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.